All righty. Well, hello all. Welcome, creatives, community, and kind folks out there. Welcome to the channel, and also classmates and collegiates. This is RPG with DBJ, and this week we will be talking curses. Well, I slightly changed the name with blessings and curses because we won't be able to avoid one or the other, or presume one is intrinsically wrapped on the other. So, in our tabletop RPG games, we often hear about divine intervention. You know, someone calling upon the gods, or there was a mass war with the gods, and their divine powers come down to the earth or the prime material plane and what have you, and irrevocably change the course of history. The elves loyal to whoever Moon something, I don't remember her name, who's ends up becoming Loth, gets cast out, and they become the dark elves living in the Underdark or something. Divine intervention. Divine intervention is very historic, mythological in its past histories. We know many stories where Zeus and the other Olympian gods have done certain things, and by their decree have cast out immortals or punished mortals, cast other divine entities, and the trickle down of that is that it affects humanity. So that's divine intervention. Also, we have, of course, divine intervention by the character class, the cleric, calling upon their deity to bring about some form of change, save people's lives, to remove them from danger, etc., etc. Okay, that's pretty powerful. Then we have the wish, the proverbial wish, genies, the jinn, the idea of rubbing the bottle and the genie comes out and you are granted a wish or three, and the hilarity that ensues from the power of a wish, and of course in our tabletop role playing game, the epitome, the pinnacle, the paragon of all magic is the wish. The whatever you want will come true. Of course, with some pretty major limitations over the years, as the wish spell has been corralled and curtailed down into something that's a little bit more playable. Although those individuals in the OSR community will recall the original wish spell, which probably was only like 5 or 6 lines long, and everyone wanted to do it. And the whole idea of sitting around for 45 minutes trying to write out your perfect wish. All right, so what does that have to do with curses? Well, when I think we think about a curse, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Blue. I don't know why I didn't see that. Initially, you were so kind there. I appreciate it, especially after consuming like 6 hours of Invisible Sun review. I'm just surprised you have you're not like, give this guy a middle finger. I'm not listening to him anymore. Dead Man says, or the Paladin. Yes, the Paladin can summon its. I apologize for that. The Paladins, can't forget them, of calling upon their a higher calling, the divine, to bring about some form of change. Maybe the sky opens up, or the ground splits open, or they worship Thor and a bolt of lightning comes down and Thor's there. But thank you very much. Not minimum wage. But oh man, but curses, I think, in a general sense, are like maybe top 5 most powerful, most world-changing events, at least thinking about it historically, in terms of not just role-playing games, but mythology and history and such. So the idea behind a curse is that we often imagine, the the innocent person pulled, you know, into the town square. Um, Dozens of innocents have been killed, slain by um, external forces, you know, people armed and armored who've come into town and slain so many, and they hold so many other innocents, you know, at knife point, and are threatening their lives and punishing people publicly. And just before, as the mayor or city leader or important individual, oracle, grandmother, whoever it is being threatened in a public square before they are killed and given their last words, this person, you know, spits forth from their mouth, you know, a proclamation that they will come back and haunt them, will punish them, that killing them now will only, you know, bring about death and destruction to them and their families and such. And all of a sudden there's a curse. There is this, do this to me, do this to us, perform this action, and you will be punished for it forever. Now we do know of some pretty tropish curses, right? Um, Dracula is a perfect example. The not the historic figure that Dracula was based off of, but the story where this person casts, you know, curses God, you know, raising their fist in the air and curses God, and then God punishes them. It's the idea of going back to Cain and Abel, and the stretching of that story where Cain is cursed to walk the earth forever, i.e., part of the history of the vampires in the White Wolf game, Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, Dead Man says Vlad the Impaler was the real life individual that the vampire Dracula was based off of, or Dracul. Yeah, Polar says now you have sparkly vampires. Yep. So oftentimes these curses are made against a powerful figure or in a life and death situation, and often involve a lot of sacrifice. And the curse can be something that extends many generations, millennia even. Enter this tomb and ye shall be cursed. The idea of the there's an old black and white movie based on the Mummy, and those who enter into the tomb shall be cursed to, you know, disrupt the dead, and now they are now restless and such. And I think curses often go hand in hand with a form of sacrifice of the individual's life, of a great loss that they come about. um yeah, I agree with you, Rickard. Yeah, it says saying, have you ever noticed that curses seem to have a lot of collateral damage? Yes, there seems to be damage in terms of physical and emotional damage to people far beyond the original cursed subject, you know. um Rickard says, Dracula, you are cursed for your crime, and you can turn others into cursed beings. That evil deed cursed the area, so all people there will be at the mercy of the curse. Yeah, yeah, the evil deed cursed the entire area. It's like, it is weird where you imagine forests being tainted with some kind of evil act or something, or there was a proclamation by a king who's been disposed, and or a goodly queen who was killed and murdered in her chambers or something, and someone somewhere, you know, pronounces a curse that affects not only the people who've committed whatever crimes or offenses, but extends down a long family line. And it seems like curses and mind you, they're very, very much linked with the idea of like what I was bringing before, like the wish and the divine intervention. Now now we do know that there are somewhat mitigated, lesser forms of curses in the role playing game. You know, there's banes and boons, and there are some spell effects that try to mimic the effects of a curse to a lesser extent, maybe a little more clunky. But the idea of like, yeah, James Lon says, genie in the bottle tropes. Yeah, the genie in the bottle being, I guess the genie in the bottle is kind of a curse in itself, being forced to be in the bottle until someone comes along and releases them. It's very much, and hey, what's up, Infinite? Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, Dead Man says a ghost inhabiting a stretch of road. That seems to be, it seems like curses are linked to a lot of these other tropish things. The spirit that cannot leave because of an act unfulfilled, like you're saying, a ghost inhabiting a stretch of road, mysterious voices inside of a building because of a murder or something like that, where a great, usually it's a great evil that has been performed by either the individual or placed upon them, and then a curse is performed. And I mean, a curse is given, and that curse has with it, attaches with it, power, and then that power seems to linger far longer than it can, almost like a burst of untrained magic, maybe. um if we wanted to gamify this, it could be intrinsically linked to sorceress power, so that, but only like a grenade, right? The average individual is being punished by an evil legion that comes to their town or village or whatever, and this person is so overcome with rage and despair and a desire to see justice that in a just one chance they're able to pierce through the veil, or their voice carries with it power into the weave, and it causes this effect. And then it has, that collateral damage you guys are talking about, where it lingers far longer than maybe it should have if this individual was trained in power. And of course, the sacrifice either of themselves and of the other people around them maybe also gives it power as well. I suppose if you wanted to try to explain it a little bit more. Castlevania. That's a crazy. Ricker says, I'm sorry, Plur says, I suppose selling your soul to the devil is cursing yourself long term for a short term benefit. I would definitely agree with that. The the um the trope of meeting the devil in the crossroads and asking for the asking for power or notoriety or something, and then at the end of it you have to give up your soul. I definitely agree with that. I think there is we could I don't believe that there's only one type of curse. I think in the beginning many people would consider the power that comes from it to be a blessing, and later on realize that there's a curse to it. There's man. Oh, I love your sarcasm. I love it. Genie in the bottle, Christina Aguilera, both a blessing and a curse upon our society. Oh man. Uh, but I do feel like there, we as humanity like to pull ourselves some positives from our negatives. So I definitely agree that in the beginning, maybe many of us would go, "Oh, this is a blessing," and then realize it's a curse, or even if cursed, that there is some blessing from it, I guess. Um, so, and there's even the idea of someone being blessed and then using that blessing and twisting it in many ways as well. Rickard says it's not really I punish the individual person or persons involved in the evil deed. It's okay, guys, you fed up. Anyone who reminds me of this effing will get on my bad side. I don't want to hear about it. Okay, that usually is it, right? It's like I'm going to set off some explosives and I'm going to hit anybody. It's it's the punishment of the blood is on your hands and your descendants' hands and your children's hands, and you're like, wait, yo, calm it down now. But unfortunately, it like gets out of hand. Rage or despair or a desire for vengeance overcomes that individual that ends up having the curse. And we often see that power even amongst like witches and shamans and the old hag out in the swamp or something, that it seems like it's like a one or done sometimes. Now, granted, there are those individuals that might say something like the old hag with the potions out in the swamp, right? I'm going to give this thing to you, but remember, there are certain rules. The Gremlins movie is a perfect example of that, right? Where the Gremlins aren't necessarily a curse, but it's the idea that there are rules to magic or power, and if you violate those rules, even the gods have done that before. I'm going to give you this power, but if you violate the rules, you're going to be punished. And we often see where the blessing is there, but the curse is dangling right behind it. It's like a thinly veiled curse that appears like a blessing. You know, oh, you want riches and power? Sure. I'll give you the power that if you touch anything, it'll turn to gold, right? And then all of a sudden, hilarity ensues as they turn their loved one into a solid, statue of gold or something, right? It's many of the Greek and Roman gods have done that, Yeah, Plura, thank you very much. Like Midas is a good one. Yeah, where someone will say something like, I wish to be the richest or most beautiful or most influential, most powerful. I want my enemies struck down. And someone comes along and goes, are you sure you want that? Fine, I'll give this to you. Yeah, Rickard says, there was one rule, guys. One, you don't feed them after midnight. How hard was that to remember? Yeah, Gremlins is like, yeah, oh, you want this thing? Sure. Now here's the deal. Don't get them wet. Don't feed them after midnight. And what was the third one? There was a third rule, something about sunlight. Come on, guys, you gotta remember that. With the Gremlins, oh man, is it sunlight? Don't expose them to sunlight or something. But there's always been that. There's always been that where it comes to like the cursing. And it's weird because no, it was no sunlight. Don't get them wet and don't feed them after midnight. And as you violated each of those, it caused a different effect on the Gremlins. One made them multiply. Was it sunlight kills them? So sunlight kills them. Water makes them multiply, and feeding them makes them evil. Oh, but anyway, it's funny because the people who know all the information about the curses, you almost want to look at them like, why would you even have this to begin with? Or why would you even put this in the hands of individuals who not only don't know, but don't care necessarily? They don't have the cultural, baggage that comes along with keeping this secret or blessing or something in control. It always gets out. It always does. Yeah, Infinite says, anybody mention magic in and of itself being a curse? Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that as well, as having that having power in and of itself is a curse. Very much classic X-Men type of thing. You're born with these extraordinary powers, and yet you are cursed to have them in the first place. Ricker says meeting the devil at the crossroads and selling your soul. Does that make you a warlock or a bard? A little bit of both. Or I'm selling my soul to become a bard. That'd be kind of a different different thing. Hey, my character's a warlock. I'm gonna wish I was a bard. Like, that's a bizarre wish, but sure. I guess. Like, hey, I want a music career in this RPG. Rickard goes on to say, I mean, it makes sense for a witch or hag to curse a bloodline or a sacred glade or some such, but it seems to be the good gods that can't make a tactical strike, so they just nuke the whole area. Yeah, that sure is it. I mean, when it it's great to see visually the hosts of angels come out of the sky to wreck shop on evil, but when you're the person sitting there watching it, you're like, oh no, I'm dead, aren't I? They're just gonna blast everything and just, it is crazy how that is the thing, right? Where the the evil, yes, we know curses are evil and created by evil, but some of the evil ones they're pretty insidious, right? They'll curse you and watch you fumble and like just struggle with the cursing, the curse that you're suffering over time, and see it, go into your bloodline and such. But the good gods, man, they're pretty rough. They tend to, like, they're just, it's almost like they're thinking, wow, I get to use my nukes now. Come on, let me light this up. Bam. But is it, yeah, Deadman says, and water makes them multiply. The gremlins. They start as mogwai. I forgot, that's right. They start as the cute little mogwais. They eat after midnight, turn to gremlins. Sunlight kills them, and water makes them multiply. And somebody decided to sell that to some unsuspecting family. That makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, suffer not the witch to live. If the role play brings up the idea of magic being a curse unto itself, and here we can play with time factors and curses. There's the immediate curse, right? There's the strike me down and I will haunt you forever. And then boom, it happens. And the person turns into a banshee or whatever, or the individual cursed suffers bad luck forever and ever, right? Then there's these long-term curses where, especially when it comes to designing your game world, where those who have magic or power or touched / tainted by some extraordinary forces, the idea of them even having those abilities makes them cursed within this world, for good or bad. And we've seen stories where the Oracle, on one hand, is gifted with the power of seeing the future, but the curse of seeing the future is one in which, they are, the great power forces them to see things they cannot change, and they suffer for their visions. Absolutely, yep. Barfin brings up the cursed powers like Ghost Rider and Spawn. Ghost Rider, calling upon, I'd sell my soul to the devil, right? Warlock. We brought up, warlocks, and I think even sorcerers tend to fall into the cursed category, where it's. I often make the difference between warlocks and clerics, that with clerics, it's service first and then power, and with warlocks, it's power first and then service. So when it comes to warlocks, in Ghost Rider, it's save my dad's life. Talk about the movie, but more generally, it's do this thing for me. I'll sell my soul to the devil to have this thing happen, and I'll serve you forever. I'll do anything if I get this wish. And then, of course, some devil, what is it? Asmodeus or Asmodeus comes in. Yeah, Deadman says Ghost Rider was cursed by Satan, while Spawn was cursed by Asmodeus. Was it Satan? uh, I think even in the comic books they even changed it to Mephistopheles or something. Any number of those demonic names, Baal and Ammon and all the crazy ones. But anyway, the idea is that they call upon this great evil power. And of course, the evil ones are always listening for, oh, did you call me? Ding, I'm here, knocking on the door, right? And going, sure, I'll give you this power. But you're gonna have to serve me afterwards. So you get a little bit of the blessing with it. Ghost Rider's like, oh, movie wise, oh, my dad's saved. He's not sick any longer. Great. And then, like, yeah, but that demon, I forget the Ghost Rider demon. He actually had a name. Goes into his body and whatnot, and now is able to like fighting evil with evil. It's the idea. Now, Infinite Roleplay goes on to say Zarenthros. Is that? Oh, that yes. Zarenthros was the naked burning skeleton vengeance seeking demon that was the Ghost Rider. And of course you have your idea with Ghost Rider being evil being released from the pits of hell so that it is free to do what it can do. And sometimes the people that are unsuspecting victims of the blessing and curses are really just an excuse for some other greater power to be released upon the world. The genie idea, right? Rub the genie and I'll give you a wish. And the genie's sitting back going like, please screw this up. Please word this incorrectly so I can get the hell up out of here, right? So Pelora brings up the blessing and curse of immortality. Absolutely. I want to live forever. Okay. And then after 5 generations, all the people they know have died. The world ends and they're still alive and they realize they've been punished by the immortality. There's the I wish I could read people's minds, and you're reading everyone's mind, the hubris of power as well. Most recently, The Boys has been released on Amazon Prime, and that kind of deals with, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's a little bit of that. In the X-Men movies, Professor X, they expressed in one of the movies, I can't remember which one, I believe it was Age of Apocalypse, in the beginning of Age of Apocalypse, when Professor X comes back from his hippie drug-addled induced refuge and expresses the fact that no, I don't have the ability to turn on my ability to read everyone's mind. It's the opposite. I'm always reading everyone's mind. I just have to find the ability to turn it off. And there are many stories about that where there's the person who's gifted with the powers and they have to learn to control them. And other people look at them as being cursed or being a curse upon the world for their power, much like Infinite was bringing up. He goes on to say, clerics, you know who and what you serve before gaining the power, and warlocks, you only know the truth of your servitude when it's too late. Absolutely. Pelora. The heat death of the universe is very boring. Yeah, if you're sitting around it. Oh yes, Bruce Almighty. Now I can think of all the prayers from Bruce Almighty. Yes, the idea of people praying for something and not understanding the resultant ramifications of their wish, their desire, and Bruce granting everybody their blessing, like, oh, I've got the power of God. Oh man, all these emails, fine, everybody gets what they want, and then of course everyone wins the lottery all at the same time. Everyone becomes beautiful and healthy all at the same time. It's crazy. I'm sorry, voice is getting a little bit dry. I very, very much apologize. Very unprofessional of me. Thank you so much for that. But we're talking about Monster Monday. We've got a little bit here talking about curses, just to get a background, just to get a little idea of what curses are. But today's Monster Monday, and we can come up with and think of a host of monsters, monstrous people, and even sentient NPC style individuals that are cursed or created about their origin comes about through a curse. For example, we brought up Dracula, vampires cursed to walk the earth forever and creating this evil spawn behind them. I believe the Minotaur was a child that was cursed by Minos, I believe, was one. Um, now my brain blanked out about all the creatures that came about through curses. Anyway, the idea of lycanthropy. Thank you guys for reminding me on that one, even though you didn't say anything. The classic werewolf. The classic werewolf was a curse upon the world, and many of these was Minos. Minos was the city. I thought it was King Minos. That top of my head. Yeah. There are many. Pelora brings up races that are cursed. There's many in Dungeons and Dragons and a lot of fantasy where a whole race of people are cursed to have something about them. Their color is different. They live in a underground. Their bodies have shifted. Their power was taken away and they've been cast down to earth. Pelora says there are a bunch of races within the Ring of Fire who are cursed. Lamia, the vampires, Kalfar, but I realize my hipster colors are showing and that won't mean a lot. Yeah, there are plenty of races within the Ring of Fire, and within the Ring of Fire also blends in that divine intervention curse kind of thing as well. Lilith cursed the first wife of Adam. Bofrin says, yeah, absolutely. The Jonathan Crine says the Minotaur curse is the spawn of Minos' wife. Her curse was to fall in love with a bull. I'm mixing up something. Was it a bull? Because I'm mixing up on mythology because I remember Zeus being a bull and breeding with someone. Maybe that was, I can't remember. But generally, right, the Minotaur cursed and then put down inside of a maze. Instead of killing the child, was put into a maze to keep the child away from the public and such. I mean, there's so many curses, and depending on how old the curse is, might have dramatic effect on the setting. For example, the vampiric curse is hundreds of years old, thousands even, depending on your setting, where one individual does something and raises their fist to the gods and is like, I cast you away from my heart, you effing blah, 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 blah. And then the gods are like, what did you say? Boom. And then, and then hilarity ensues as they start to breed and spread their blood curse amongst others. Blood cursing is a very common thing as well, where one origin of lycanthropy is a blood curse of sorts, meaning that there's a physical, natural manifestation of something in the world, but if we are truthful and just and faithful and given grace by a pure-hearted divine energy, that we are able to allow that curse to subside and go away. I believe that was very much a cultural thing in our ancient past, where diseases and famine and environmental changes, storms, flooding, earthquakes, forest fires, etc., was thought that these were punishment by the gods. And if you were only faithful, you're being cursed because of your actions. You did something wrong. You acted outside of your paladin oath. The people acted outside of the desires of the gods, and you're being punished for it. And this curse will last 7 generations or something, unless someone makes amends for it. Someone atones for the wrong that people have done. Now, Dead Man says there are 50 different myths of the origin of the Minotaur. Wow, really? Yeah, I could see that. I could see that as through word of mouth and through trying to describe the world that people would change the myths. He goes on to say, additionally, Minos was a Greek king as well. So probably maybe the city was named after them, or maybe they took the idea of naming themselves after the city. Who knows? But that the a lot of curses come about through like hubris, mortals knowing more than the gods, or trying to outsmart the gods, the deities around them, or holding themselves in a higher regard to greater powers. Being known as being more beautiful, smarter, faster, stronger than some divine beings. And a lot of those divine beings, oh, thank you, Dead Man, for placing that into the Discord over at Fantasy Grounds College. So many of those, in many times it's mortals being smacked down by very very conceited and arrogant divine beings, and basically like, don't get above yourself because there's somebody else out there that'll smack you down. A lot of times those that mythology has to deal with those kind of curses and such. Now Barfin says the Minotaur was the child Minos' wife and a bull she was cursed to love. Oof, oof. Oh, double. Yeah, Greek mythology. Yeah. Kind of compound curse, right. She falls in love with the bull. That's one curse. She is impregnated by the bull and then gives birth to the Minotaur, and then the Minotaur is cursed, well, punished slightly, cursed to live in the maze and such. Pretty nasty. Now, in terms of other creatures, because we're talking about the Minotaur, we're talking about the vampire. I would even say, you're so right, Polora. Yeah, who cursed the bull? Did the bull not have a say in this? Bull's looking around like, hey, what? Listen, it wasn't my fault. See, now that's not right. Come on, you Greek mythological creators. This was to punish Minos. See, and here we're going back to the idea. See, what happened was, listen, no. Listen, see what I was just passing, and it slipped, and a thing happened. Yeah. See what happened. So what I says to her, I says, yeah, definitely area effect curses. Yeah. um, Definitely area effect curses, and that I um it seems to be that the curse is almost like, it's like combination of like radiation and disease spreading and legacy and blood and so many other things. And it definitely is a very much a world building trait. The Dark Wood was cursed by the blood hunter who, sacrificed his family and lived in the woods forever. It's the person who opened up the Necronomicon and was told not to do it. Oh, you're so wrong. Yeah. Hey, listen, it wasn't me. Getting chased down the street all naked. um, it's like a curse is almost, it's like 10th level magic, right? We've got the wish is like 9th level spell, and yeah, wish turns bad and usually strikes the the wisher. And then, but curses almost seem 10th level magic, yet 0 level because of its unpredictability and its extended. Yeah, Fat Ninja was the black guy. You're so wrong. You're so right. Job was cursed by God to show how loyal he was, which is tests by the divine, I think, fall into the idea of curses and blessings, where the divine requests from a mortal individual some form of service or denial or what have you. And by not understanding that the divine source doesn't explain that there is a blessing on the tail end, but just requests of this individual, hey, serve me or do this thing. It's the take your child up to the mountain and slay them, or take your prized possession and slay it, or turn away from the city and never turn back. It's the, walk 1,000 miles and one day you will see, and then, dot, dot, dot on the end of it. And the person is going, it's the opposite of the blessing and then the curse. It's the curse and then the blessing at the end. And in many ways, I could see paladins and clerics falling into this category where there may be even a willingness to want to punish themselves. You guys are so wrong. Oh, gypsies. Although I believe if I'm not mistaken, the people who represent the gypsy culture find gypsies a pretty foul descriptor. But within our context, yes, it is the idea that people are cast out and forced to wander, and or in the world there would be those individuals who will say to themselves, I'm going to deny myself this or perform these acts willingly as a punishment or an atonement or as a service, because at the end of it, there is the idea that there is something to be gained at the end of it. Deadman says the evil eye was originally a gypsy curse. Oh, yes. They're usually called travelers. Yes, I couldn't remember. The vampire clan Ravnos was based on the idea of that type of culture where they were travelers culture, where they're given the trope was people live in a town, these traveling gypsies come into town, they take from them the people what they want. They go to the oracle, they have parties, they have their unmitigated parties and sexual activity and all that kind of stuff, getting into fights. They go to the gypsy lady's like, okay, now you owe us. You got everything. You traded with us and you took from our people. Now what do you want? And then someone's like, F you, get out of here. And then the gypsy gives them the evil eye. Or they go to the oracle and they want their future told. The oracle goes, you sure you want to know your future? Yeah, I want to know my future, right? And they go, oh, well, here's the good thing. You're going to be a great warlord. Here's the bad thing. You're going to be killed by your own child, right? And then they're like, F you, smack. You don't know what you're talking about. And then, of course, the gypsy's like, you asked for it. I'm giving you the evil eye. And a lot of curses even have to do with finding out things we were best left not found out. Our future, reading the Necronomicon, opening up a book that we shouldn't, delving into secrets we shouldn't, just like Infinite Roleplay talking about magic itself can be construed as a curse, especially for, thank you, Rickard says, the Romani people. Thank you. Romani with an I or a Y, based on your language. But yes, the Romani people were, the term gypsy was placed upon them, not given to them by themselves. Rickard says curses that are not a curse. Ghosts. Cursed places tends to be filled with ghosts of the victim of the evil deed that caused the curse. And we know of ghosts that are both either like echoes of the pain or ghosts that are still around. They're not necessarily evil, but they're still around because they have to fulfill something, i.e. The sixth sense. There is the misinterpretation of the ghosts. Oh, it's an evil banshee. We have to get out of here. Those ghosts are evil. And then you find out, well, they're not really evil. Maybe they were just cursed and punished. for something that either they did or they themselves cursed a person. It's the strike me down and I'll haunt you forever curse as well, meaning they themselves, after being killed, become a ghost to punish the person that did this to them. And then, of course, the evil person is driven mad, or they're killed themselves, or they, run out into traffic. They get run over by a wagon or something and trampled by horses, and the person's still a ghost. It's like, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen like that. Yeah. Valor says, isn't there a Brothers Grimm story where some prince didn't show kindness to an old lady and was cursed? Can't remember the details to it. Google foo it. Where's Dead Man? Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. There is one where someone didn't show kindness to an old lady, and you find out the old lady is some sort of there. Thank you, Dead Man. Beauty, sitting right in front of our face. Beauty and the Beast. Yes, thank you. Beauty and the Beast. The idea of, wow, what was the story? The Beast was cursed. Wow. Please, someone put into the chat. Yeah, someone put in there. How did the become the Beast? Now I remember the flower, where the petals of the flower were falling, and the Beast, someone had to show true love to the Beast, and because he was bestial, everyone feared the Beast. Can't remember. Alley Oop says, what goes around comes around. Ignorance can be bliss, yet a curse at the same time. Oh, the story about the old lady. He refused shelter to the old lady, I believe, and the old lady cursed him. And so it seems to be that ghosts, and we can extend this to some of our other creatures and monsters, right? Whether we can pick trolls or dragons or it just reminds me, Beowulf. And if you want to see a visual version of it, there is the animated version or digital representation of the story of Beowulf, where in Beowulf there was the horn, and if you blow the horn and you wish for something, you obtain your greatest wish, but then you're also cursed. And Angelina Jolie ends up giving birth to a mutant child that comes and punishes the person who becomes their bane in life, which is what happened in Beowulf. Because Beowulf's child ends becoming a dragon that terrorizes the countryside, and Beowulf ends up having to kill the child and realizing that child was caused by himself. I mean, it's the sleeping with the succubus or incubus idea and spawning some evil child from that spawn. Yeah. Oh man. There's so many curses we can call from to create something. Yeah, we did mention we mentioned werewolves and were creatures being cursed, that blood curse. Someone is, for example, it could be an accident where someone gets the lycanthropic infection in their blood, and the only way to keep it away is through like the power of the divine or faith. And then there's also being cursed to become a werewolf and spread lycanthropy as well, whether it's a family bloodline. There's also living with the evil deeds of your family line as well, where a noble family might have been done some, murder, like the Vlad Impaler thing, right? There, 5 generations ago, they impaled people and put them on spikes and lined them on the streets because of the workers of the city wanted to rebel against the rich nobles, and they were punished to go back into the mines and work again, and they were killed. And now today, the player character is, 5 generations later, is still suffering from the evils caused by their family heritage. And this is a great way. The curse also is a great way to throw in that gray area where not necessarily gray, but throwing in both evil and a reason why there's evil. You know, it's the it's the mad troll that's killing people in the countryside, and then you find out that the troll was really the princess who never wanted to marry the prince, and the mother of the prince cursed the the the, the young princess, and to say, well, if you won't marry him, you won't marry anyone because of your beauty or something, and turns this young lady into a troll that or Medusa or whatever have you, and like the Medusa or the troll or the Minotaur or whatever, it is bestial and rather evil and such. But then upon killing it or getting it down to the point where you can kill it, there's information revealed that this individual or bloodline or what have you was revealed that this the bestiality or evilness was caused by something else. And then the police are like, oh, I didn't realize this. Oh, so sorry. Didn't mean to kill you like that, and then you can just extend your storyline along, right? Plura says, I like the idea that someone got the benefit of a bargain and their grandchild gets the curse. You like that idea? I think you're kind of evil. No, I know what you're saying. Storyline where someone gets the benefit of the bargain, but their bloodline suffers from it. And how many people were like, I don't care. As long as I get the power, I don't care what happens to anyone else. Which tends to be the downfall of those individuals as well. Like, yeah, I'll take the short term because the long term doesn't bother me. It would be the equivalent of today if you ask someone, would you become a vampire today with all the benefits and drawbacks of being a vampire? And there'd be a bunch of people that would raise their hand without even questioning it, right? Oh, I have to drink blood and I can't see sunlight, and people who carry holy symbols and holy places I can't go into. That's easy. Whatever. And live forever. I'll do that. Whatever. So there's plenty of that. Oh man, Curse of Plagues. Yeah. There is the we're going to bring that up too. That's probably going to be Third Pillar Thursday. It's the strike me down and I will curse you with and fill in the blank of the environment being affected by it. Plagues, storms, famine, disease, all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of this, Dead Man Says, that's fairly common in Disney stories, which, yeah, a lot of those Disney stories have a lot of curses in it. A lot of fairy tales have a lot to do with a lot of child death and curses laid upon a people, rather than, which is kind of effed up too, right? It's really, I mean, you're this innocent farmer, you're just like going along, and then your neighbor is just like, raising their fists to the gods, and you're sitting back like, please don't do that. And they're like, oh, F you, I cast you out. And the gods are just like, yeah, I'm going to curse you and pretty much everybody and everybody get in contact with, and anybody who's heard of you. You know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna curse 500 square miles. That's it. I'll just do 500 square miles just to make sure I send my point, right? Get my point across. Yeah. Ooh, I live in a church. I'd have a hard time with that. Ooh, being a vampire. Yeah. James Lindell says, time shortened as a curse too. Die too soon? Yeah. There is the aging quickly, dying soon, or what are the movies? The movies where the people avoid death and death comes for them. Please, it's very simple. The name. Oh man, I can't remember if it says, "I curse you to count. All before your eyes, you must count. It's the completion. Every person, every article of clothing, every shade of color, count." Ooh, Final Destination. Thank you very much. Yeah, Final Destination is kind of a curse. Infinite Role Play is like, you gotta, you You force the person to count and then you dump them on a beach, counting particles of sand forever and ever. Oh man. Then you get a long-term job on Sesame Street. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Final Destination. Final Destination is a kind of a curse story. I know they were bizarrely, it was the idea of how are they going to die in this weird way, you're going to get an eye through, you're going to get a ladder through your eye socket, you're going to get electrocuted, you're going to get a metal pipe through the back of your head in an auto accident or something on the highway, but yeah, Final Destination is kind of a curse. Yeah, you missed death, so now it's coming for you. Love it. Yeah. And we playing with that, a lot of times some of these curses are like accidental-ish. Not accidental, it's anyone in their right mind would most likely make the decision to do the thing that the people in the cursed storylines do. Hey, I was sleeping, I took a nap and saw that I might die. I'm going to save me and all my friends, right? Hey, let's all get off the plane. First Final Destination movie, right? So it's like, hey, we all need to leave. We need to get off the plane. Why? Oh, thinner. Yeah, thinner as well. And most of us would make that decision, and then hilarity ensues as the results of that. Also, there's of course arrogance involved in curses as well. I'm better than you. I'm richer than you. I'm more endowed. I'm more beautiful. I'm smarter. I am simply because of my birth, my last name, where I was born. I'm better than you people. We've seen that plenty of times as a trope. Explorers go to tribal village and act all arrogant. Rich corporate individual punishes their workers. The wow, and again, my brain farts. The ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future. Scrooge. What? Come on, you guys know the title. The generational curses. Yeah, there's 10. I think we mentioned generational curses. Yeah, generation. You're fifth generation. You're like, really? You guys did that in the past, and we suffer for it, which is a great way to tie PCs to the evils of the world. PCs must stop the goblinoid invasion. Come to find out 5 generations ago, that goblinoid invasion, they were actually related to those people who were turned into orcs or trolls or bugbears or something. And you go, oh, they were my family. I didn't real what? There's a lot of generational curses where the idea of being cursed to be a werewolf, and you realize that the reason you're a werewolf is because your grandmother and great grandfather and your great granduncle were these people that passed this bloodline down to you, and you're living with it and such. So yeah, definitely. Alley Oop says, makes me want to watch a Final Destination marathon. Watch it come to a full circle. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess it's a spoiler for Final Destination. The one of the coolest things that they did with Final Destination, and one of the most unique things, is that the last Final Destination movie circles right back into the very first Final Destination movie, which is kind of cool. The people at the very end of the last Final Destination movie are passengers on the plane of the students that get off the plane in the very first Final Destination movie, which is kind of sweet. I think writing wise, that was a really cool thing. Maybe some of the Final Destination movies were the execution is like but but all right, guys, we've come to the end of our talk about blessings and curses for today. Of course, today is Monster Monday. We were going to continue to talk about curses and blessings for the rest of the week. Discord Tuesday, World Building Wednesday, Third Pillar Thursday, Third Pillar of Exploration, and of course Future Friday, which is going to be kind of odd, like curses and blessings and science fiction. Is that a thing? Well, I think it is. So guys, everyone have a great one. I will see thee tomorrow. I'll hang out in the Discord for a couple of seconds.